first of all, the transfer window slams shut on Friday tomorrow. What's your thoughts on that? Are you looking to bring anyone else in? Are you thinking you will?
It's a similar response to the one I've given for the last couple of weeks. I can't wait for the window to be closed, to be honest with you, so we can all talk about something else. But I'm very pleased with the business that we have done in structuring the squad the way that we've done. I know it's an exciting 24 hours for fans of football clubs, and they're always sitting on the edge of their seats to see what action happens at their respective clubs. But from our point of view, we were very well organised going into the window, and we managed to get all of our business done very, very early. That's not to say that if something really exciting came along in the next 24 hours that we wouldn't be in a position to do something, but I'm not in the habit of just adding for the sake of adding. If a player we believe is available that's going to add real quality to the group, then we are in a position to do something. But I think if you look at the strength and depth that we have within the group, I think we're in a very fortunate position. I think there are a lot of clubs out there at the moment going into this stage of the window that are rushing about, panicking, just trying to bulk up their squads. We aren't in that position. We've got a very strong competitive team right now, and I'm very, very pleased with the business that we have done.
Do you think it's more likely then that you'll go with as is?
I think the likelihood is right now that we won't be adding anybody. Once the window closes tomorrow, that'll be us, business done. We're not, as I said, in a panic situation where we need to bring anybody in. So I'm very, very pleased with what we've got here in the group, and unless something really special comes along in the next day or so, then we will be what we are.
And it is quite unusual being on a Friday, I suppose, ahead of the games. Quite hard for managers, I suppose, but then for you, being so prepared and organised, it's not such a big deal.
No, it's not. I've been on both sides of it. My early days at St Mirren, I can remember kind of running about, chasing our tail a little bit because deals didn't quite work out the way we wanted them to. But we identified the targets that we wanted very, very early, going into the end of last season. And, we knew the players that we were going to promote from within the academy. And, as I said, I think the business that we've done has been very, very good. We've got really good balance now throughout the team. We've got a couple of players that can play each position. We've got a lot of very good experienced senior players who have been there and done it before, and then we've got some really good young, hungry, up and coming players who are chomping at the bit for opportunity. So I think we've done great, to be honest, and that's why we're so relaxed going into the last 24 hours. And
just to matters on the pitch, obviously now unbeaten in the league so far this season. I think it's 5 games unbeaten. How pleased are you with that start to the campaign?
Delighted with the attitude of the players. I think they've worked extremely hard during pre-season. Unbeaten in 5, as you said, with only 1 goal conceded in those 5 fixtures as well. So I think defensively we look very well organised. We look solid. I think the key positions that we identified in the summer, I think those players who have came in have really made a difference. And we look a real threat going forward as well. That's 3 goals against Ayr on Saturday. We scored a bundle load against Arbroath in the opening day. We should have scored more against Dunfermline. So we look as if we're capable of scoring at least 2 or 3 goals a game. And the fact that we're making life so difficult for the opposition teams to score against us bodes well for the season ahead.
And you talk about the goals. I mean, goals weren't easy to come by last season, and you look at the likes of Kevin Holt is getting on the score sheet a number of times so far already. So the goals are not just coming from the forward players either.
No, I think that's important. I think we have got players, throughout the team who are capable of popping up with a goal. We do ask a lot of the group. We want midfielders to be chipping in with 6 goals a season. We want centre halves like Kevin Holt, when they're going up there for those set plays, to be aggressive and to try and get on the end of things. And obviously, Holdy's scored a couple against Ayr United. We know the ability that he's got from the penalty spot. More than capable of taking those penalties going forward. But we we can't rely on any one individual. I think that's the most important thing. You know, I believe Louis Moult will score, you know, a bag full of goals this season. But you know, the fact that we're able to spread it out among the group is very, very pleasing from our point of view.
And of course you face Airdrie this weekend. What's your thoughts heading into that game? I suppose you'll be just wanting to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Back at Tannadice as well, so you know, delighted to be playing in front of our home crowd again. We had, you know, over 9,000 there against Dunfermline in the last fixture, so hopefully we'll get at least that volume of people through the gates on Saturday. A difficult game, as they all are. You know, there is no game in the fixture list that we look at and think that that's going to be an easy 3 points. You know, I've got a lot of admiration for the way that Airdrie are trying to play the game at the moment. You know, I think Rhys McCabe deserves a lot of credit. It's great to see young managers being given the opportunity first and foremost, but then to see those young managers actually being brave enough to play the type of football that Airdrie are getting a lot of credit for at the moment. You know, they done it in League One last year and got promoted off the back of it. And you know, Rhys McCabe hasn't changed the style of play, which is great credit to him. You know, really trying to build from the back and play through the different zones, and yeah, very brave at doing it. And you know, they deserve you know, a huge pat on the back for that. But you know, from our own point of view, you know, we're in a very good place. You know, confidence-wise, the boys are feeling good about themselves. We have got that bit of momentum, and we want to carry on this unbeaten run for as long as we possibly can. You know, we have to go into every game believing that we're good enough to win. But if we don't win, the most important thing is that we don't get beat, and we showed that against Dunfermline in what was another difficult game. But Saturday is going to bring its own different challenges. You know, different kind of style of football to what Dunfermline do. Dunfermline a bit more direct and a bit more long balls to deal with, whereas on Saturday against Airdrie, you know, there'll be the shape of the team will be really important to make sure that we don't allow Airdrie to play through us.
And just finally, what's your team news going into the game?
Kieran Freeman and Chris Mockery are back in amongst the squad, which is really pleasing. So we've got you know, a very strong and healthy group to choose from.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a quick couple for myself. Just, you know, on last week's result, you know, going away to United, a 3-0 win, another clean sheet. You know, is that kind of a real statement of intent going to last year's runners-up with quite a complete performance and coming away from that as well?
I don't know. I mean, how much of a statement it was. I think, you know, people might look at the result from last Saturday and think that it was a fairly straightforward, comfortable win. It wasn't that at all. You know, the first half was very, very tight. Ayr United sat with a lot of men behind the ball, and I think that's something that, you know, we've spoken about already this season, and you know, that us as a group of staff and players and our own supporters are just going to have to accept that that's the way it's going to be a lot this season, where teams are going to try and frustrate us and sit in and trying to hit us on the counter-attack, and you know, the onus is really on us to find solutions to break down the opposition. So you know, it was a tough game last weekend, but I think, you know, any victory on the road is satisfying, but to win it in the manner that we did, with the 3 goals, 3 really good, well-worked goals as well, keeping the clean sheet again, you know, really, really important, but, you know, not really a statement to anybody else, more than just a kind of a reassurance to ourselves of what a good team we're capable of being if we all apply ourselves properly. And I think that's the pleasing thing for me, is the level of consistency throughout the group, you know, not just those players who have played regularly from the start of the season, but the young guys who are coming into the team, whether it be off the bench or starting slots. You know, they've all been very, very good, and that's great. You know, good individual performances, but you know, if we get that, then we'll ultimately get a good collective team performance as well.
And obviously you kind of spoke there about the way that most teams are going to come and sit up against you this season. And how do you find that as a prospect, you know, as a manager, to, you know, sort your team out tactically to come up against that? I suppose kind of different to what you would have been, you know, last season in the Premiership, where you maybe would have been the team kind of trying to do that a little bit but to kind of adapt and change a little bit for like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it does bring its different tactical elements. You know, you've got to spend a lot more time on offensive patterns of play, and you know, different rotations and different movements, and trying to develop partnerships in the forward areas, and just trying to work on a better understanding all over the park. Last season in the Premier League, you know, we were underdogs a lot of the time going into games, and we were having to work on a more defensive structure, if you like. But look, I think the players are the ones who deserve all the credit. It's very easy for me to talk about tactics and to walk through things on the training pitch when there's no pressure. But when the boys cross the white line on a match day, then they're the ones who have to go and implement those ideas. And I'm pleased to say up to now it's worked. We've got different solutions that we work on. If one thing is not working, then we can try a plan B or a plan C, and yeah, hopefully that continues to remain the case going forward.
And just a final one on your transfer business. I know you kind of spoke mostly about the business being done, but is there anyone on the periphery of the squad that we could see, if an opportunity comes up in the last, day of the window that could, head out, whether it be permanent or a loan?
Well, we're not looking to move anybody else on. I mean, obviously Mark Birighi's situation has been well documented for a couple of months now, and that hasn't changed. Young Leighton Bisland has went out on loan to Falkirk this morning. A great opportunity for Biz, and a chance to go and work with a really good manager, a good experienced manager, and John McGlynn, who will hopefully help and coach Biz in his development. But apart from that, we're very, very happy with what we've got, and we don't want to lose anyone now at this stage.
Thank you very much.
With coverage and technology these days, you have the opportunity to do a good sort of diligence test of your opposition before the game comes around. However, there's nothing between Dundee United and Reece McCabe's Airdrie to study, to look at what's there. How exciting is that as a prospect to go into something that's really is quite unknown?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got a good analyst team here who have been able to get a lot of footage on Airdrie. I've managed to watch them myself a couple of times last season, and as I said, I admire the way that they try and go about things. But it'd be the first time, I don't know how many years, that the two teams have met in a competitive league fixture, and it is something of the unknown from our point of view. But we try and focus on what we're good at, and what has got us the results of late. We do always respect the opposition, and we always do our research, and we make the players aware of who we think their key players are going to be, and what kind of patterns of play that they normally look for. But that's probably 10-15% of the working week. The rest of it is working on what we're good at and trying to make us better. And I think if we play to the level that we're capable of week in, week out, then we'll be a tough match for any opposition.
Well, one of the good things that have come out was obviously Ross Doherty making the game last week. How important is that, to have your captain in the middle of the park going into a game like this?
Yeah, I mean, Doc has been a great signing for us. I think it goes to show what I think of him, having made him club captain. He is very much the leader of the group, sets the standards in training on a daily basis, looking to drive players on and make sure that everybody is at it. And I think we missed him against Dunfermline. And I think you saw the reaction that the group gave him when he's back in the team against Airdrie United. He was very calm and composed, and he's very much a controlling figure in the middle of the park for us. And a lot of our good stuff on Saturday against Airdrie United went through Doc. So big player for us, an important player, but one of many important players within the group.
You said that you're not looking to sign anyone unless they're particularly special. But does some of that come down to being able to have signed players who are able to move between different positions and accommodate different things? Is that something that is making the reason for not really be looking for anybody unless they're special? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, that was a big part of the recruitment strategy in the summer. It's something that I've done continuously in all of the clubs that I've been at. If you can sign a player who can play a couple of positions and play those positions consistently well, then you're almost getting two players for the price of one sometimes. And I think we've done that this season. Grimshaw, quite comfortable at right back, very comfortable in Central Park. Kevin Holt played a lot at left back for Partick last year, albeit I see him in his best position as left centre half. It's good and reassuring to know that if anything was to happen to Scott McMahon, that we've got Holty there that can fill in that position. So in middle of the park is very similar. We've got players who can play as a number 8, like Declan Glass, or he can also play as a number 10. So, I think that's always what you're trying to do, and every manager out there will be in the same position as myself. It's just trying to make up a jigsaw of 22, 24 players, and trying to put round pegs into round holes. Is that what they say? Instead of the other way around. I think what we've done is very much a common sense approach. We've maximised the budget to the best of what we could, and I think you're seeing the good quality work that we've done on the park on a regular basis, which is very, very pleasing.